हरे कृष्णा हमें पेज नंबर 72 जाए पढ़ी यार थर। এই যে আমি পড়িଥିଲେ যে কীর্তন had been going for about 10 minutes. এটা ଆମେ ଟମ୍କିନ୍ ସ୍କୋୟାର ପାର୍କର କୀର୍ତ୍ତନଟା ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହବ ସେଇଟା ଯୋଉ ମେନ୍ ପ୍ଲେସ୍ ଯୋଉଠି କୀର୍ତ୍ତନ ହବ ସେଇ ଜାଗାଟା ଆମେ
Hmm.
ଦେଖୁଛେ। The kirtan had been going on for about 10 minutes when Swamiji arrived, stepping out of his white rubber slippers, just as if he were home in the temple. He sat down on the rug with his followers, who had now stopped their singing and were watching him. He wore a pink sweater and around his shoulders a khadi wrapper. Khadi wrapper. He smiled. Looking at his group, he indicated the rhythm by counting 1, 2, 3. मैं से बजे चल रहे हैं। Then he began clapping his hands heavily as he continued counting 1, 2, 3. The kartals followed, at first with wrong beats, but he kept the rhythm by clapping his hands and then they got it. Clapping hands, clashing cymbals artlessly to a slow, steady beat. तो ଏଭଳିଆ ଭାବରେ ସେମାନେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କଲେ କୀର୍ତ୍ତନ। ଆଉ 10 ମିନିଟ୍ ପରେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆସିଲେ କୀର୍ତ୍ତନ ବନ୍ଦ ହେଇଯାଇଥିଲା, କିନ୍ତୁ ପୁଣି କୀର୍ତ୍ତନ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ଯେତେବେଳୁ ଇଣ୍ଡିକେଟ କଲେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଲା ପୁଣି। ଆଉ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ଏମିତି 1, 2, 3 ବିଟ୍ କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁ କଲେ। ବେଳେବେଳେ ଏମିତି ହେଇଯାଏ ନା, ଆମେ କୀର୍ତ୍ତନ ଗାଉଥାଉ ଆଉ ବିଟ୍ ଚାଲି ନଥାଏ, ତ ଯିଏ ସିଙ୍ଗର ସେ ବାରମ୍ବାର ତାଳି ମାରିକି ବିଟ୍ ଟା ଆଣିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରେ। He began singing prayers that no one else knew. तो प्रभुपाद बहुत सारा प्रेयर गाइले जोटा कि हम जानने थे के ये वंदे हम श्री गुरु श्रीयुत पद कमलम श्री गुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च तो प्रभुपाद मैंने करताल सहित गाउछन बुझिपारछन तो 1 2 3 1 2 3 सहित रिच इन द नोशंस ऑफ बेंगली मेलोडी बहुत सुंदर भाव बेंगली म्यूजिक सहित प्रभुपाद स्वीट वॉइस रे गाइले Sitting on the rock under a large oak tree, he sang the mysterious Sanskrit prayer. ना कौन एटा किए जानना थी the mysterious prayer लिखा है गाई चल. None of his followers knew any mantra but Hare Krishna. But they knew Swamiji and they kept the rhythm, listening closely to him while the trucks rumbled on the street and the conga drums pulsed in the distance. तो ये समस्ते से गच्छ तले ओक ट्री तले से गाई चलले जदियो के बुझु नथले खाली हरिकृष्ण महामंत्र ही जानते ସେମାନେ ଫଲୋଅର୍ସ ମାନେ ତ ଏଭଳି ଟ୍ରକ୍ସ ଯାଉଥିଲା ସାଇଡ ବାଇ ସାଇଡ ଆଉ ଡ୍ରମ୍ସ ଏମିତି ଶୁଭିବା ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଲା ଆଜି sang ଶ୍ରୀ ରୂପମ୍ ସାଗ୍ର ଜାତମ୍ the dogs came by kids stared a few mockers pointed finger hey who is that priest man ତ ଲୋକମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଏଭଳି ପ୍ରଭା ଯୋଉ ସମୟରେ ଶ୍ରୀ ରୂପମ୍ ସାଗ୍ର ଜାତମ୍ ଏଟା ଗାୟ ଚାଲିଲେ ତ କୁକୁର ଆସିଗଲା ଲୋକ ସବୁ ପିଲାମାନେ ଅନେଇଲେ ଆଉ କିଛି ମଜାଳୁ ଲୋକ ମଜା କରିବା ଲୋକ କହିଲେ କିଏ ରେ ବାବା but his voice was a shelter beyond the clashing dualities କିନ୍ତୁ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ବହୁତ ସୁନ୍ଦର ଭାବରେ ମାନେ ଆଶ୍ରୟ ଦଉଥିଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ଭଏସ ଦ୍ୱାରା ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ his voice went on ringing cymbals while he sang alone ଶ୍ରୀ ରାଧା କୃଷ୍ଣ ପାଦାନ ଏଭଳିଆ ଆଗୁ ଆଗ ପଢୁଛନ୍ତି Swamiji sang prayers in praise of the pure conjugal love for Krishna of Srimati Radharani, the beloved of the gopis. Each word passed down for hundreds of years by the intimate associates of Krishna was saturated with deep transcendental meaning that only he understood. Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Nritanst. They waited for him to begin Hare Krishna. So wait करछन केतळ Hare Krishna start हो गने मानसु किछ बुझ पाना. Although hearing him chant was exciting enough. प्रभा सेटा भी गाउछन हेले भी मजा लागुछ किंतु सन चाहुतले प्रभा हरे कृष्ण तो केतळ स्टार्ट करी. प्रभा एक्चुअली श्रीमती राधारानी गोपी मानक प्रेज रे ही गाउछन. More people came, which was more people came, which was what Swamiji wanted. जहाँ स्वामीजी चाहते से अनुसार बेसी लोग आसी. He wanted them chanting and dancing with him, and now his followers wanted that too. They wanted to be with him. It seemed that this would be the thing they would always do. तबले बहुत लोग आसिले ଆଉ ସ୍ୱାମୀଜୀ ଚାହିଁଥିଲେ ବହୁତ ଲୋକ ଆସନ୍ତୁ ବହୁତ ଲୋକ ଆସିଲେ ତ ସମସ୍ତେ ଚାହିଁଲେ ଯେ ଚାଟିଂ ଡ୍ୟାସିଂ କରିବାକୁ ପ୍ରପୋଜାଲ It seemed that they would always do that. I go with Swamiji and sit and chant. He would always be with them chanting. Then he began the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. They responded too low and muddled at first, but he returned it to them again, singing it right and triumphant. ତ ସେମାନେ ଯଦିଓ ଫଲୋ କରିପାରୁନଥିଲେ ଠିକ ରେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦଙ୍କ ଟ୍ୟୁନ କୁ କିନ୍ତୁ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ପୁଣି କନଫିଡେଣ୍ଟଲି ଆଉ ଥରେ ଗାଇଲେ ତ ଏଇଭଳି ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ଠିକ ଟା ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ଗାଇ ଚାଲନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ ଯଦିଓ ଗାଇବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରନ୍ତି ହୁଏନି. Again they responded gaining heart, ringing kartals and clapping hand 1 2 3 1 2 3. Again he sang it alone. And they stayed hanging closely on each word, clapping, beating cymbals, and watching him, looking back at them from his inner connection. His old age wisdom is bhakti, and out of love for Swamiji, they broke loose for their surroundings and joined him as a chanting congregation. तो धीरे धीरे ସେମାନେ ସବୁ କିଛି ଭୁଲିକି ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦକୁ ଫୁଲ୍ଲି ପୁରା ଚେଣ୍ଟିଂ ରେ ଯୋଗଦାନ କଲେ, ମାନେ ଗାଇଲେ। ବେଳେ ବେଳେ ଏମିତି ନା ଆମେ କୀର୍ତ୍ତନରେ ଗାଉ ସଂକୋଚ କରୁ, କି ଦେଖୁନି ତ, କି କାଳେ କିଛି କହିବନି ତ। Swamiji played the small drum, holding its strap in its left hand, bracing the drum against his body. तो प्रभुपाद छोटिया ड्रम टे धरथिले, फोटो देखिथिबे आपण वीडियो रे थिबो, and with his right hand playing intricate mridanga rhythms. Right hand से mridang rhythm play करथिले। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He was going strong after half an hour, repeating the mantra, carrying them with him as interested onlookers gathered in great numbers. Few hippies sat down on the edge of the rug, copying the cross-legged sitting posture, listening, clapping, trying the chanting, and the small inner circle of Prabhupada and his followers grew as gradually more people joined. तो ये बहुत सारा हिप्पीज आसी बसले सेठी, आउ से प्रभात भाया चकामुंडी बसिकी गाइले, कॉपी कले, क्लैप कले, चैंटिंग कले, आ प्रभात से पाखापाखि सब सर्कल रे बसिବାକୁ चेष्टा कले। बेसी बेसी लोक जॉइन कले धीरे धीरे। As always, his kirtan attracted musicians. प्रभात कीर्तन समस्त को अट्रैक्ट करथिले। Irwin Halpern कहउचंती, he remembers, I make flutes and I play musical instruments that I make. से फ्लूट बनाते और सेवड़ा जोड़ा बनाते सेवड़ा से प्ले मत करते। When the Swami came, I went up and started playing, and he welcomed me. Prabhupada tanku welcome करथिले, and whenever a new musician would come and join and play their first note, he would extend his arms. It would be as though he had stepped up to the podium and he was going to lead the New York Philharmonic. और प्रभुपाद केते बढ़िया वेलकम करथिले, देखंतु आमे एभला करछे, न्यू म्यूजिशियन आसले प्रभुपाद ताको वेलकम करथिला, एभली वेलकम करथिले जेति इन माने हाथ बढ़ेकी ताको डाकला बेले, जेमति से गोटे न्यूयॉर्क गोटे परफॉर्मेंस पई डका होछंती। I mean, there was this gesture that every musician knows. You just know when someone else wants you to play with them and feels good that you are playing with them. You just know when someone else wants you to play with them and feels good that you are playing with them. ଯେତେବେଳେ ଅନ୍ୟମାନେ ଭାବୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ତୁମେ ବଜେଇଲେ ମତେ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି, ମୁଁ ଚାହୁଁଛି ତୁମେ ମୋ ସହିତ ବଜାଅ, ଏଇଭଳିଆ ସିଚୁଏସନ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଭ୍ୟାଲ୍ୟୁ ଦଉଥିଲେ କେତେ। And this very basic kind of musician communication was there with him, and I related to it very quickly and I was happy about it. तो बहुत बढ़िया लगला कारण प्रभुपाद एभली रिलेट करोथले। तो आपण जे देखिबे ए वीडियो टा देखिबे।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Stay tuned down. দেখলে এটি ফ্লুট বাজুছি সে হ্যাঁ এই যে ফ্লুট ইরভিন ইরভিন সে ফ্লুট বাজাচ্ছে তাই বলে এটা দেখলে তো মন করে যাবেনি ইরভিন হেল্পার সে তা ইন্টারভিউ lone musicians were almost always loitering in different parts in the is of the park, and when they heard they could play with the swamis chanting and they were welcome, then they began to come by. So ଯେତି musicians ମାନେ ଥିଲେ ସବୁ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ପ୍ରାନ୍ତରୁ ଆସି ପହଞ୍ଚିଲେ କାରଣ ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ବହୁତ welcoming. One by one everybody came. A saxophone player came just because there was such a strong rhythm section to play with. ବହୁତ ବଢିଆ ମାନେ ହଉଥିଲା କୀର୍ତ୍ତନଟା ବୋଲି ସିଏ ବି ଆସିଗଲା ଦୌଡି. Others like Irving Halpern saw it as something spiritual with good vibrations. As the musicians joined, more passers-by were drawn into the kirtan. ତ ଯେତେବେଳେ musicians ମାନେ ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେ ଆହୁରି କିଛି କୀର୍ତ୍ତନ ଚାଲିଛି ତ musicians ମାନେ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି ତ ଆହୁରି ଲୋକ ଆସିଲେ. Swamiji had been singing both leads and chorus. ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ଦେଖିଲେ ନା ଦିଟା ଗାଉଥିଲେ ମାନେ ତାକି ସେମାନଙ୍କ rhythm ରହିବ. And many who had joined now sang the lead part also. ନୂଆ ଲୋକମାନେ ଗାଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତି ନା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଜଣେ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଟାଇମ ବି ଗାଉଛନ୍ତି ଶୁଣିବାଟା ଯୋଉ ଛଡା ସେ ଗାଇ ବି ଦିଅନ୍ତି. So there was a constant chorus of chanting. You know? During the afternoon, the crowd grew to more than 100, with a dozen musicians trying, with a conga mid-bongo drums, bamboo flutes, metal flutes, mouth organs, wood and metal clackers, tambourines, and guitars to stay with the Swami. ଏତେ ଲୋକ ସବୁ ଆସି join କଲେ. He was striking to see. His brow was furrowed in the effort of singing loud, and his visage was strong. So ବହୁତ strongly ମାନେ ଗାଇ ଚାଲିଥିଲେ ଆଉ ବହୁତ ମାନେ effort ଦଉଥିଲେ ଗାଇବାରେ. The veins in his temples stood out visibly, and his jaw jutted forward as he sang Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, for all to hear. Although his demeanor was pleasant,
पहुंची दंडवत प्रणाम.
his chanting was intensive, sometimes straining, and everything about him was concentration. More concentratedly, Prabhupada chant would. It wasn't someone else yoga retreat or silent peace vigil, but a pure chanting, be in of Bhaktivedanta Swami's own doing. It was a new wave, something everyone would take part in. The community seemed to be accepting it. It became so popular that the ice cream vendor came over to make sales. Beside Prabhupada, a group of young, blonde-haired boys, 5 or 6 years old, were just sitting around. A young police boy stood staring. Someone began burning frankincense on a glowing coal in a metal strainer, and the sweet fumes billowed among the flutists, drummers, and chanters. ସେଟା ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଫେଷ୍ଟିଭାଲ ଭଳିଆ କରେଇଦେଲେ. ଦୋକାନୀ ପଳେଇ ଆସୁଛନ୍ତି, ଲୋକ ଆଟ୍ରାକ୍ଟ ହେଇଯାଉଛନ୍ତି, ଆଉ ବହୁତ ସମସ୍ତେ ଆଟ୍ରାକ୍ଟ ହଉଛନ୍ତି, ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ବହୁତ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି ପିଲାମାନେ ବଡମାନେ. Swamiji motioned to his disciples, and they got up and began dancing. Tall, thin, steady, his back was pocket stuffed with "Stay High Forever" flyer, raised his hands and began to dance. Steady first dance color. Beside him was in the black turtleneck, big chanting beads around his neck, danced Achyutananda, his curly, almost frizzy hair long and decided. Then Brahmananda got up. He and Achyutananda stood facing each other. तो अच्युतानंद के जॉइन करथिला ना जो टी शर्ट में जो पिलाटा. Then Brahmananda got up. Brahmananda and Achyutanand stood facing each other, arms outstretched in the picture of, as in the picture of Lord Chaitanya's Kirtan. Photographers in the crowd moved forward. The boys danced, shifting their weight from left foot to right foot, striking a series of angelic poses. Their large red chanting beads around their necks. They were doing the Swami step. Brahmananda recalls, it a last for the Once I got up, I thought I would have to remain standing for as long as Swamiji played the drum. It would be an offense. I thought if I sit down while he's still playing. So I danced for an hour. ସେ ଭାବିଲେ ଯଦି ମୁଁ ବସି ପଡ଼ିବି ଏଇଟା ଅଫେନ୍ସ ହବ ଠିଆ ହେଇ ପଡ଼ିଲିଣି ମାନେ ଠିଆ ଡ୍ୟାନ୍ସ କରି ଚାଲିବା କଥା ଯେହେତୁ ମୋତେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ଡ୍ରମ୍ ବଜେଇବେ ତ ଘଣ୍ଟେ ଯାଏଁ ସେମିତି ଡ୍ୟାନ୍ସ କରୁଥିଲି Swamiji gave a gesture of acceptance by a typically Indian movement of his head, and then he raised his arms, inviting more dancers. More of his disciples began dancing, and even a few hippies got up and tried it. Swamiji wanted everyone to sing and dance in the Sankirtan. The dance was a seated swing and a stepping of bare feet on the rug. Bare feet ring dance କରୁଥିଲେ ନା ସେ ମାନେ carpet ଉପରେ rug. And the dancers' arms were raised high, their fingers extended towards the sky above the branches of the autumn trees. Here and there throughout the crowd, chanters were enjoying private ecstasies. A girl with her eyes closed playing finger cymbals. ଦେଖଉଥିଲେ ନା finger and shook her head dreamily as she chanted. A police lady with a very old worn face and babushka around her head stared incredulously as the girl. नहीं सही निकला था सही जो लेडी टाइप हम देखते little groups of old women in handkerchiefs. Some of them wearing sunglasses stood there and they were among the crowd, talking animatedly and pointing out the interesting sights in the Kirtan. Kirtanananda was the only one in the dhoti, looking like a young version of Prabhupada. The autumn afternoon sunlight fell softly on the group, spotlighting them in a golden glow with long, cool shadows. में next time पढ़िबा और ये कीर्तन टा प्ले करो जान जीवे किए बोली पहला कीर्तन देख पारे ना अच्युतानंद को ये हरे कृष्णा। जय जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव। हरे कृष्णा। तो देखले ना के सुंदर प्रभुपादकर विषय रे लिखा है लीलामृत रे। हम टाइम
ବହୁତ
पे
ବଢିଆ।
खाली रहया पड़छ। बहुत बढ़िया।
ପ୍ରଭୁଜୀ
हाँ
ଯେତେବେଳେ ଯୋଉ ରଥଯାତ୍ରା ରଥଟା ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ଜଗନ୍ନାଥ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେଠି ଗଲେ ଆସିଲେ ମାନେ ତାପରେ
हाँ
ସେମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଜଗନ୍ନାଥଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଲକେଟ ଗୋଟେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କୀର୍ତ୍ତନ ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଥିଲି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ଗଳାରେ ସେ ଲକେଟ ମାନେ ଝୁଲୁଥିବ ସେମାନେ ସେଟାକୁ ସେତେବେଳେ ବହୁତ ପସନ୍ଦ କରିକି ସେମାନେ ପିନ୍ଧୁଥିଲେ।
को लॉकेटा ये जो येटा
ଯୋଉ
जगन्नाथ वाला।
ଜଗନ୍ନାଥଙ୍କର ଫେସ୍ ଥିବ
ओ
ସେମିତି ମାନେ
अच्छा।
ଜଗନ୍ନାଥଙ୍କର ମାନେ ସେ ବେକରେ ପକେଇକି
बहुत
ସେମାନେ
क्रेज एक्चुअली सोना
ସେଇଟା
बहुत
ଝୁଲୁଥିବେ।
क्रेज थिला। बढ़िया भाବରେ
ହଁ
सेवा करिया।
ସବୁଠୁ ବଡ କଥା ସେମାନେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ଯାହା କହିଲେ ସେଟାକୁ ମାନିଲେ ସେମାନେ।
मानिले आ प्रभुपाद भी तांको बहुत फ्रीडम दैछन एक्चुअली आमे जो माने प्रति
ହଁ
क्षेत्र रे गोटे टांग लड़ेबा आमे जो शिखिछे ओटा सब प्रभुपाद नै माने प्रभुपाद फ्रीडम बहुत दउतले देखन से लॉकेटटा
ହଁ
पिंदिबो कि पिंदिबनी एते प्रभुपाद कोउनथि ସେମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ନୂଆ
ହଁ
ଜିନିଷ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହିଁଲେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ତ ଖୁସିରେ ଗ୍ରହଣ କରୁଥିଲେ। ସବୁ
ହଁ
ଜିନିଷ
ହଁ
ମାନେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ଜାଣୁଥିଲେ ଯେ ମାନେ ଇନ୍ଥୁଜିଆଷ୍ଟିକ
ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ
ଅଛନ୍ତି କରିବାକୁ
ସେ ବି
ଦବା।
ଅହେତୁକ କୃପା ବହୁତ କରିଛନ୍ତି ଆଉ ବହୁତ
ହଁ
ମାନେ କହନ୍ତି ସେ ବି ବଦାନା ସେମାନେ ସବୁ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ବହୁତ କୃପା କରିଛନ୍ତି।
ହଁ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ବହୁତ ଆଇଡିଆ ଦେଖେଇଛନ୍ତି ଆଉ ସେମାନେ ବି ଇନ୍ସପାୟର୍ଡ ହେଇକି ବହୁତ କିଛି କରିଛନ୍ତି ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ।
ହଁ
ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଟା ଏତେ ଗ୍ରୋ ହେଇଛି। ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ତମର ପର୍ସନାଲି କେତେ ଟେକ୍ କେୟାର କରିଛନ୍ତି ଆମେ ତ ଦେଖୁଛେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ମେମୋରିଜ ରେ ଗୋଟେ ଲୋକ
ହଁ
ପର୍ସନାଲି କେମିତି ସବୁ କିଛି କରିଛନ୍ତି ତ
ପ୍ରଭୁ
ସେଥିରୁ
ବି ସେ ପ୍ରଭୁପାଦ ବି ଟେକ୍ କେୟାର କରିଛନ୍ତି ବୋଲି ହିଁ ତ ସେମାନେ ବି କେତେ
ତାଙ୍କ
କଷ୍ଟ
ଲାଇଫ
ସେମାନେ ସହ୍ୟ କରିଛନ୍ତି ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ କେବେ ବି ମାନେ ମାନେ ପଛ ଘୁଞ୍ଚା ଦେଇନାହାନ୍ତି ସବୁ ପରିସ୍ଥିତିରେ ସେମାନେ ଆଗକୁ ମାନେ ବଢି ଚାଲିଲେ।
କରେକ୍ଟ ନହେଲେ ସେମାନେ କାହିଁ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି। ଆଜ୍ଞା ହଉ ତାହେଲେ ଆଜି ଏତିକି ଥାଉ। हरे कृष्णा। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय और गोविंद की
जय
जय।
जय।